Now, in 2022, there is a developer who, in my opinion, is above everyone else at making these styles of games compelling, exciting, and makes you want to play them all the way through in one sitting. And that developer is Supermassive Games. Supermassive Games are the developers behind some of your favorite games in this genre. Games like Until Dawn, The Quarry, that you just watched every single streamer seem to stream it non-stop till they beat it. And what we'll be talking about today, the Dark Pictures Anthology. The Dark Pictures Anthology is a series / universe that Supermassive Games have developed that's all intertwined. Now, currently, they have 3 stories, games, however you want to call it, that are out and released and you can play right now. There's also another one, a 4th one that comes out, should be the end of this year. Well, I played all 3 of the previous mentioned ones, and this is a review of all of them. Now, the first game in this series is called Man of Medan, and this is a really fun introductory into this world. Now, one thing that all 3 of these games do in the beginning is they give you some sort of prologue, which really serves as the tutorial, but in some games it sprinkles a little bit of plot, and in some games it hammers a ton of plot. But it's the introductory to the world, to the game, teaches you how to walk, how to move, how to investigate, how to make decisions, what a good decision might lead to, what a bad decision might lead to. And in this version of the game, the Man of Medan, you start as these 2 military men who are clearly in some other country. I'm realizing that in order for this to like be the video I want, I have to really kind of speed run through the story. Now, after you're done learning the tutorial, you and your friend get back on the boat that you're on and you guys set sail. And as you set sail, you're told you're too drunk. You get thrown into, like, I don't know, the little prison thing they have on there. Anyway, couple cutscenes later, boom, 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 scary. There's a little kid on it. Boom, you shoot him, then he scares you and you die. And then that's the end of the prologue. So then you fast forward to present day and you are on a boat with a bunch of people. These are the characters in Man of Medan that matter. There's Fizz, there's Conrad, Brad, Alex, and Julia. Conrad and Julia are brother and sister. Fizz is the captain of the boat that you're on, and Brad and Alex are brothers. And right away at the start of the game, it's made to make you think that Brad is kind of like the nerdy, weak outcast, and Alex was like the cool athlete. Anyway, Alex and Julia are together, okay? And Conrad is a showboaty, silly, dumb money boy. Plot of the story is Brad, the younger brother, found that there's an abandoned ship that crashed into the water from years ago, and Alex and Julia are gonna go investigate it because they're divers. Now, you get to this abandoned plane crash site, and Alex and Julia go diving underwater and they investigate it. But for the most part, the only reason you do this is because you find a piece of paper that says Manchurian gold on it, and it's got coordinates for another location. As this is going on, above the water, Brad got sick because he drank beer trying to be cool, so he's lying down. So Fizz and Conrad are kind of having a little magical moment of their own when these pirates show up. And these pirates hit their dive line, which I didn't even know was a thing, but it's like this line that's in the water, I guess, that says there's divers. Anyway, Conrad, being the moronic daddy's boy filled with money that he is, he's like, hey, yo, I got the money. And he throws all this money at them, and the pirates, one of them's got like one eye, and he's like, oh, I'm mad about this. So he drives away on his boat, and right then and there, you're like, oh, these guys are gonna come back. And sure enough, they come back. But they don't come back until later that night when Alex and Julia both came up from the water and they're just having a barbecue, celebrating. But she brought that piece of paper that said Manchurian gold on it, everybody. Here's a picture of gold and coordinates for where the gold is. Come on here and find it. If you haven't put it together yet, the pirates come back and they capture that ship, and then they find the piece of paper that says, let's say it together, Manchurian gold on it with the coordinates. So they're like, oh, well, there's treasure. Let's just go get this treasure. And the pirates took over the ship, and now they drive this ship to those locations. And that location turns out to be a abandoned boat in the middle of the ocean, which is the boat from the prologue. And you get on the boat, and now you're kidnapped by these pirates on a boat you have no idea about, but there's supposedly a treasure here. And then some spooky things start happening, and that's the game. game. Now from that point on, that's pretty much it, the entire game. It's trying not to get caught by the pirates, trying to evade the spookiness that's going on, and get back on your ship and escape. Now, what is that spookiness, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. So it turns out the Manchurian gold is not actual gold. It's code name for this hallucinogenic pathogen drug thingy that essentially makes you, this is what it does, okay? It makes you hallucinate and you see very scary things, have a heart attack, and die. That's how everyone died in the prologue. You're on the ship that was in the prologue. Blah, inception noise. Oh, but it's not real gold. Then why did they use the name gold? But it's actually a drug that's still here in boxes, and then boom. End of the game. Now, one last thing about this, if it feels like I just blew through the entire plot and story, I probably did, but keep in mind this story and this game I think is my favorite in the series. And although it's easily summed up with what the whole story is, really all of them in this series can be summed up within a few sentences, but it's really about the in-depth interactions and everyone's personal decision making and the interaction that you have with the game that really makes it unique. Did that do a good enough job talking about what I meant? I just wanted to mean, like, there's a lot about this plot that I could talk about. So now let's talk about the good and the bad things about this game, in my opinion. Now, first and foremost, my two favorite things about this game were how much I related to Brad on a personal level and how much Conrad made me laugh. Brad, they spend a good portion of this game kind of making you feel, and it represents itself as like Brad's a nerdy loser who never really had many friends. And I know I just said I related to him, but I was kind of like that, am kind of like that. But it really did a good job at making it be like, simply because you're like that doesn't mean you can't have heroic moments or be brave or be strong. So it was really kind of cool to see how they took a character and they like spent the majority of the beginning beating him down, and then when you play him, you have the ability to kind of have this more of a heroic arc, and it was cool. And then Conrad, he's just a smug, arrogant asshole who has a couple funny lines. The actor who played him does a really good job with his voice acting and his dialogue. It was perfect for me in this game.
My charm is like a boomerang. You think it's gone right over your head until smack. You're all cool. Private. Just chatting it up, you and I, in the old conversational intercourse.
One thing that the rest of the other games will kind of shy away from is that this game is really, really good at building anxiety and tension. You're on a boat. Now, I don't know if you've ever been on a boat, but these like warships and things like that were really small and they're really narrow hallways. And the game does such a good job at making you like claustrophobic and feel like the walls are closing in and feels like there could be a jump scare at any second. And there are jump scares in this game, which kind of brings me to the really biggest negative for me. Beyond a doubt, the biggest negative thing for me is that this game relies way too much on jump scares. I think every scare in this game is a Vine scared noise drum sound with a spooky face.
He's like alive. Oh no. Oh.
What the fuck? Don't touch it. Why did you touch it?
Now, that's not to say I wasn't scared. I got jump scared a whole bunch, but after a certain point you start to realize that, oh, the only way I'm getting scared is if there's a jump scare. And if you know where you're walking, you know where you're going, you're like, oh, the only thing I have to worry about is when I turn an angle or when there's a small action to pull a curtain or something. You're not gonna just be walking regularly and get jump scared in this game. Another thing I really didn't care for were the pirates in this. Like, obviously they were looking for gold and they were played to be like these dumb pirates who just search for gold, but I wish there was a little bit more character interaction with them on the boat. I wish there was something that wasn't every time they see them, it was like, oh, there's the guys, let's kill them or chase them down or something. In fact, there is a scene where a guy is talking about how he's scared because he hears the voices and sees the people, and it would have been cool if there was a scene that you saw that was like that. Or if you could have maybe played as a pirate and you got killed just to get killed just to see what happened. But overall, this game was great. I had a lot of fun with it. It's a perfect introductory to this type of game, to the series, to the world of the Dark Pictures anthology, and I was super excited to play the next one.